Hi, I'm Andrew from HelloSpace.me, and today I'm with John from Nanzan University. Today we're talking about job applications and how you can score your next job. And thanks so much for your time. It's
No
really
problem at all.
appreciated.
My pleasure.
I know you're really busy, so...
It's okay.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is John Howery. I'm a senior language instructor and professor at Nanzan University in the Foreign Language Education Center English Education Division. It's a mouthful. FLEC EED. And basically I'm in charge of overseeing the English classes and also hiring full-time and part-time teachers.
Okay, thanks. And hiring full-time, part-time teachers,
Yes.
so you advertise for positions?
Yes, almost every year we advertise for a full-time position, and every year we are hiring probably part-time teachers because we have about 392 classes every quarter.
That's a lot.
Yes, and about half of them are covered by part-time teachers, the other half with full-time teachers. So we actually are going to have an advert going out later this month for a full-time limited-term contract position.
And so when you advertise that, about how many applications will you get usually?
Anywhere from 45 to 60.
That's a lot.
Yes,
Of
it is.
reading.
I think the first year we did it, we had close to 100 when we opened up the center. But the last couple years, from 45 to 60 resumes. Still quite a few.
Yeah, it is. So I guess you don't have so much time, so I guess a lot goes straight to the bin.
Some of them do. We have a rating system. There's usually 3 people on the hiring committee, and we talked about what we look for. And we have an A, B, and C category, and the C kind of goes to the bin. Sometimes the C category, there's promise there. They're just maybe not meeting all of the things that we require in the advert. Maybe they don't have their masters in hand, for example. But yes, some of them do go to the bin.
And so when you are shortlisting or about to interview a candidate, do
Yes.
you find extra information? Do you like Google search them or anything like that?
Sometimes, yes. Especially if there's a candidate that we don't know anything about. If we don't know the name, or they mention something in their CV that we're curious about, and it looks like we can get more information pretty easily by doing a Google search or an online search. Sometimes they'll mention an article that's available online, and we'll look into that. So yeah, sometimes, yes.
And so what sorts of things are you looking for when you find them online?
We just look for how they present themselves online. Usually we're looking at academic things, not, for example, Facebook, although I do know some employers also look at that kind of thing. I personally avoid that. I think that's people's private life. But it does get blurred sometimes. And one of the things that we look for, probably it's the most important thing, is the cubicle test. Is this somebody that I would want in the cubicle next to me, yes or no? And so that gets into people's personality and how they get along with people and how they present themselves, not just professionally but also personally. And I guess you could find some information, or you could get some inkling of a person by looking at Facebook posts and things like that. So I understand why some employers do that. I look more for how they present themselves professionally. Do they share information about their teaching? Do they have handouts or videos that they would give to students? Do they have maybe a blog where they share their teaching philosophies? Things like that. And just also, how tech savvy are they?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How does the page look? That gives us information as well.
So-
Especially when you move to a blended classroom environment or a flipped classroom environment, which is the big thing that's coming.
So tech savviness is going to be important, or?
Definitely so. I think now there's a big push from the Ministry of Education, Science, Sports, and Technology. Difficult to say, almost as difficult as our office name.
Japan loves mouthfuls.
That's right, and we're following that. There is a push for that, and when there's a push, that means there's also money available. And every university wants a chance to attract grants. And so if universities or centers or departments are doing more with blended learning or with flipped classes, I think that employers are going to try and attract people who have interest in that or who can demonstrate that they've done that or can do that. So yes.
So are there any specific things that you're looking for when you're looking at someone's online presence?
I don't know if I have a criteria of things that I specifically want to see, but there are things that when I do see, I get impressed. You know, when people are showing their materials that they use in their classroom, the fact that they're open to share that with colleagues or to anyone, the public, that impresses me, because a lot of people are nervous about sharing that sort of thing. When people do instructional videos where they themselves are in the video, they're not just grabbing something from YouTube, that also impresses me. And then you get to see how they present themselves in front of students. We're somewhat fortunate. We can do a model class as part of the interview process, but we are the students in that class, so it's a little bit fake, right? But in the instruction videos, you get to see I think a closer approximation of what they might do in the classroom. So if I see that, yeah, that's going to impress me. If I see that it's just clear and easy to use the website and it's organized, then that also impresses me.
Okay. You probably know of a famous website called winjil.com.
Yeah, I've seen that, yes, a couple of times. Your website, yes.
Yeah, my personal website. Is there anything that could be improved about it?
You know, that's one of the websites that we actually saw before we interviewed you. There were a couple of people that we did that with, and yours was one because you had listed that on your CV, and we thought, oh, okay, let's check it out. And yours is a really good example, actually, because you have that menu bar on the left, and it's got classes, it's got different types of classes, it's got stuff about you, it's got different topics, so it's really easy to navigate. Some of it obviously is designed for students and maybe not for someone like myself, so kind of figuring out how things kind of go together as an observer was sometimes a little bit tricky, but I understand the audience is different, right?
Okay. I think I'll tweak those things
Okay.
there. And you know about publishing and impact factor, right?
Yes, yes.
Have you heard of a social impact?
Yes, especially for maybe other fields, but it's becoming truer, I think, in education in Japan, where it's not just how much you publish, it's also your presence, especially your kind of online presence, and whether people have a chance to see you as well. That's one of the reasons why people are supposed to present and publish, to have an academic presence. And that's extending, I think, beyond the traditional model of just going to conferences. It's also going to kind of your online presence and how well you can reach out to other people in other disciplines, other universities. There's also a push in Japan for people to do more multidisciplinary research or to do research with academics from other universities, especially academics in other countries. How do you do that? Well, you can go to an academic conference, but that's also expensive, takes time. So having that more online presence is an alternative to that.
Thanks. Coming back to job applications,
Sure.
Is there any advice you'd like to give people who are watching this? And
For the interviews or for putting things online or? Yes and yes.
We don't have much time, but
Sure.
Is there any big fish that you'd like to fry first?
I think that interviews are always difficult. You want to present to whoever is doing the interview your best side. And the interviews are often just 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if you're lucky. That doesn't give a person much time to really show what you want to show. So I think any chance that you can give them an opportunity to see more about yourself, such as maybe having your own blog where you have more about your teaching philosophy or have examples of your teaching, that can help. And the great thing about it is it's your blog, so you can decide what goes on there and what does not. So you can tailor it to meet your needs or to your target audience to attract more attention for yourself. There have been a number of candidates who have done that, at least 3 that I can think of right now, including yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when we saw that, we were really impressed. And so we thought, this is somebody we really want to interview. So in that sense, it kind of helped get that foot in the door. And then you get an opportunity to present yourself in person.
Cheers. And I guess people watching this will be wondering if you have your own blog.
That's right. Yes and no. Our university requires us to have one, and I do that. But the problem with that site is it's quite dry. It doesn't show much personality. It's basically a CV that has been digitalized. And so it has not attracted much attention from other people. Although even that, as kind of ugly as it is, I have gotten 2 emails from other researchers who did see it and saw some of my research interest and wanted to do a collaboration. If I had a better website, I think I would attract even more kind of hits in that sense. And one of those discussions led to a paper that we did together. So even something simple and basic can yield benefits. But
Nice answer.
I'd like to move to something a little more attractive, and right now I'm playing around with Schoology, which is mostly for teachers and students, but I see some potential there for maybe showing it for other academics too.
Okay. And finally, is there anything else you'd like people to know?
That's a pretty broad question.
It is.
I think one of the biggest reasons why people maybe don't do a blog or do something online for students or for themselves is time. But if something is important to you, if it takes priority in your life, you always find time to do it. And so I think you have to ask yourself, is getting a full-time tenured position or limited term contract position important to you? If the answer is yes, truly yes, then you would make time for that. You would make it a priority because it can help. Just like you should present or just like you should publish. So I think that's one thing that you should add to make yourself a more appealing candidate. And the other good thing about it too is it's an opportunity to reflect on what you do as you pick and choose how you present yourself or what videos to show or what handouts to show. You can see all the things that you've done throughout your teaching career and what are your strengths or highlights, and share that with other people too. I think that's also good as well.
Thanks.
Sure.
And I think that's it.
Oh, okay.
That's all for today. So this is John from Nanzan University. Thanks so much for your time. It's
no
really
problem at all.
appreciated.
My pleasure. It was fun.
I'm sure it'll be very helpful for people watching this. We'll have more videos in the future. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, subscribe and stay tuned and share this video with your friends. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.